So today I'm gonna make a pecan pie, and this is a store-bought pie crust. This is the I think it was the Pillsbury brand. So that's what I'm using. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-bake the pie crust for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And for a pie you're putting stuff in that you gotta bake, you don't want to punch holes in the bottom. But if you put this in the oven like this, the crust is going to rise up and probably split and everything. So what you do, get your old pie pan, and this is the center part of it, and I punched a bunch of holes in it. And when you punch them all from the top down. That way the bottom is where they come up at, and that's the side you put in your pie crust. And we're going to bake this in the oven 15 minutes at 400 degrees, and hopefully it doesn't rise up in the middle. We'll see what happens. And I'm also pre-butter the bottom of it, just so it doesn't stick. Like I said, this is the side that's going to be up, because this is the side that got the imperfections. So this is the side I'm gonna butter. And like I said, I'm just doing this so it doesn't stick to the pie. And just kind of flatten your thing out as best you can. And we just kind of lay that in the bottom. And that should prevent it from rising up in the middle. Just put it right in the middle, and we'll cook it for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And I will keep an eye on it just to make sure that this little trick works okay. So it started to puff up a little bit, so I went ahead and dumped some dry red beans. These are red beans that I kept especially for this. So I put those in the middle on top of the foil, and just let it keep on going. So while my pie is pre-baking in the oven, go ahead and start making the actual pie filling. I'm going to use 1 cup of sugar. This just regular white sugar. 1 cup of light Karo syrup. And I'm trying to get most of it out. That way it'll it costs a small fortune for that little bottle. Gotta make it stretch. And we're going to use also 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And 1 teaspoon of flour. Just regular all-purpose flour. Now we'll go ahead and get that mixed up. So let me get that done. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and add the butter. It's 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And we're going to also add the salt. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now we'll go ahead and get that mixed up. And last but not least, we're going to add the eggs. 3 eggs, but we want to add them 1 at a time. And I like to crack them in a separate dish. That way you don't get shells directly in there, and then you're trying to dig them out. And if you want the little white stuff, you can try to remove that with a fork and a paper towel, which I will. That way when you're baking the pie, they don't rise to the top and look kind of funky on top of your pie. That's a little trick my neighbor had told me. So let me do that. And before you add them, just kind of beat them a little bit. And like I said, as you add the one, just go ahead and incorporate it really good, and then add the next one, then the last one, then they'll all be done. So let me get them all added. And my pie came out pretty good, I think. Go ahead and take it out the oven. We'll get the beans out, get the little foil pan bottom out, and then we'll get ready to dump in the filling. Here's the 3rd egg. As you can see the little white, the little white spot on the side of it. I usually just kind of take a knife, and just kind of cut it away. You can kind of pull it over to the side. Then you get your little paper towel and just kind of get in there and kind of grab it, it'll come. You just gotta catch it. I got it. And like I said, that way there's no chance it'll float to the top of your cake and have a big old white piece, you know, floating on it. So this is my last egg. I'm gonna go ahead and add this, then we'll get ready to pour it in the pie. So we got everything mixed up. Here's our pie crust. And to make it, get you 1 cup of whole, pecan halves. And just kind of evenly spread them as best you can around the bottom of your pie. My pie ended up having some splits in it. But that's fine. I mean, then there's nothing you can do to it now, you know. There's no way to repair it per se. At least not that I'm aware of. I guess if I had some more pie dough, but I don't know if that would be any good, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And now we're gonna dump in the filling right on top, basically. So let me get that done, and I'll show you what we look like. Now, as you can see, once I dumped it in, you notice the pecans starting to float up. So you don't have to worry about mixing the pecans with the stuff. Just put them in the bottom of your pan, pour in the stuff, and they'll automatically float up. So now we'll put this in the oven for 340 degrees, and we'll start out at around 45 minutes, but I'm thinking it's gonna probably go a little longer. So we'll see what the cooking time is once it's done. Okay, so there's a good chance this pie, as it cooks, some of the filling might rise to the top and kind of go in the bottom of your oven. So get your pan, put below that rack that you're gonna put the pie on, and then we'll just take the pie and put on the other rack. That way if it drips, it'll drip in your pan and it don't make your oven a big old mess. So that's my plan, at least. We'll see what happens. And just so the actual crust doesn't brown too much as it's cooking, this is going to be in there for a while. I bought this a while back and it works pretty good. I baked the pie with it already. You can use a pie pan too. There's a little trick that was going around I've seen, but yeah, being I bought this, I figured I'd use it. And you basically got like a little front part that it kind of fits into, and that'll prevent your crust from browning too much as it cooks. Okay, and I think the reason it took so long is my oven is kind of old, and probably the temperature or the timer is not quite the way it used to be on it. But I baked this for 1 hour and 25 minutes at 340 degrees, and that's how it looks. And like I said, its middle should be pretty firm. I mean, it's still got a little give, but once it cools, it'll drop, and I think it'll be perfect. I'm not going to cut it or nothing. This is for Christmas, so I'm actually freeze this in the freezer, and that way it's done. I don't have to make it again. And that's the finished pie. Like I said, I didn't bake the pie crust. I mean, I know I have the recipe to do it, but I just didn't feel like it. And this is a pretty good pie crust. I've had it before. I think this was the Pillsbury brand, I believe. So yeah, that's it. Very simple. And my neighbor, she's like an excellent cook, so she actually gave me this recipe, and I know it's good because she bakes them all the time. So this is like pecan pie perfection right here. And so yeah, cooking times may vary. Just watch it, but the middle should be pretty firm when it's all said and done. If it's still jiggly towards the end of your cooking cycle, keep on letting it go, because the middle shouldn't be jiggly, because if you take it out, let it cool, it's going to be runny inside the middle of it. I've actually done that already, so keep that in mind. Like I said, this took me 1 hour and 25 minutes. Well, if you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Thanks.